nerds, 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 nerds.
Hey everybody, we are back with Saturdays Are for the Boys. I was recovering from HeroGasm, so Lauren nailed it. So we had Eddie fill in last week, so thank you so much, Eddie. But Lauren, take us, let us know where we're at and what we're going to be diving into today.
So last week we basically got some origin stories from MM, Frenchie, and Kamiko. Obviously, MM's is the one that's, kind of everybody's kind of taken back from, that I really do hope they explain in season 5 of The Boys, but we will have to wait and see. And now we're kicking off with What I Know. So Huey's having some nightmares actually from HeroGasm, so he has not recovered from HeroGasm. So that is where we are kicking off. We are on Omnibus number 4, which includes issues 39 to 47, as well as a 6-issue arc for Huey going back home. But today we are only covering issues 39 to 47 because that already is a lot of comic books to go over. So 39. Huey's having nightmares about being sexually assaulted at HeroGasm and losing Robin the way he did. There's a public funeral for Soldier Boy. Because remember, Butcher had gotten Soldier Boy when Payback attacked them. They retaliated. MM hires a lady of the night to basically nurse on, which makes sense now after not really makes sense, but And Annie and Huey are at an adult store renting some adult videos. Butcher, however, is investigating Starlight and sees what her real name is and puts it together that the girl Huey is dating is Starlight. We meet Jess Bradley, who is the new CEO of Vought American, and she tells Stillwell she wants in on whatever he is up to. Frenchie is keeping close tabs on the female to help maintain some of her soul, and Butcher sees Huey and Annie in public. They were actually making out in public, and of course, that's when I said he put it together as far as who she is. So we are on issue 39. And Huey still doesn't know who Starlight is.
Butcher doesn't, right? Or Huey?
Huey still doesn't know that Annie is Starlight. He has no idea she's a soup. Butcher, however, has just put it together.
Oh, so in the comics he learns before Huey? Wow, okay. That's different, but they're already making out and everything?
Oh, yeah. They've been dating for a while. They've both been keeping their secrets. So Annie's been keeping the secret that she's a superhero and in the 7. And Huey's been keeping his secret that he is in a group that is beating up and killing superheroes.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Also, like, how different does Annie look in the comics as opposed to like her regular everyday self? Because like if you took the show into account, Annie and Starlight, it's obviously the same person. You know what I mean? Like you can't hide that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things they do in the comics versus show is in the show, the comic or Huey's very much so into superheroes. Like, he wanted a Tech Knight doll when he was a kid and he had the posters on his wall and everything. But in the comics, he's not from the States. And after what happened to Robin, he says he does not like superheroes. So he's not into any of seeing the movies or reading the comics that he doesn't have to. So if they're not investigating soups, he's not really paying any mind to it. And of course, you can also always argue the Clark Kent Superman approach of like,
got it.
Well, they don't expect Clark to be Superman. So he's not Superman.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Comics. But I just feel, if you had not read this comic, for example, and just watched the show, you're like, there's no way. So I think that's where I'm coming at it with. And so, it's surprising. We're here almost 40 issues in. They don't know that each other are who they really are, I guess. So crazy.
Yeah. And there were things I didn't look into this, but I should look into this. But I remember when Sister Sage was introduced, some people were saying that they thought she was based off of Jess Bradley, who is the new CEO of Vought. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. We don't really learn too much about Jess in these issues, so maybe she'll come to it more. I don't really remember her at all from my first read around, so
get to that. Is she? I don't even remember that name from the show.
No, no, me neither.
Okay. So maybe we're gonna see that person coming up in season 5. I don't know, but that. All right, good to know. Because Sister Sage, at least in issues 39 to 47, is she there yet?
No, I don't remember a Sister Sage. So some of the characters I feel like they
Okay.
pull from different people to create.
Got
Or,
it. Okay.
like Silver Kincaid was a big relevant one when we talked about the G-Men, and she was like kind of a throwaway character on the show. So you never know.
Never know. Okay. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Butcher always one step ahead, kind of like the show as well. So I think that's pretty common.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always doing everything behind the scenes, and the rest of the boys don't always know what he's doing. So
Yeah.
now we go into issue 40, The Innocents, Part 1. So Butcher tells the legend he thinks Huey is with Vought. So that's where his mind went, seeing him with Annie. We then meet a new team called Super Duper, and they are actually very sweet and innocent. One of the members is named Black Hole, who we met in Gen V. Oh, this is a very different Black Hole. No, it's not like that in this.
Oh, it's not? It's
No.
not the butthole galaxy guy?
Nope. Black Hole is just like he can eat anything. So it's not like a TARDIS ass.
Okay. Wow. They chose the different end for the show. Okay.
Yeah, they actually went dirtier in the show. That's usually not the case.
Right.
However, they're getting a new leader, someone Butcher describes as, quote, one of the all-time worst effing C words in spandex. Well-known fact, end quote. Jess Bradley and Stillwell meet to discuss Homelander and the plane incident at Herogasm. Remember, he shot a plane out of the sky for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
She had seen pictures of him murdering a family, including a baby 20 years ago. Stillwell is insistent that was an isolated event, that he is different now. She doesn't understand why Stillwell does not get rid of Homelander. He tells her we need him. With the G-Men and Payback gone, the Seven is their top earner, and they need the Homelander to lead the Seven.
Interesting. Okay. She's like, oh, that was a long time ago. He's fine. But also, they make us a ton of money, so don't touch him.
Basically. Yep.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I was like, that's so crazy. But I'm like, well, the world is kind of showing us maybe it's not, that we have probably CEOs doing the same thing.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
And for those who have not been here the last few times, this is Stillwell in the show. In the comics, Stillwell is a dude and is not giving Homelander breast milk.
Right. So they put so much, again, I feel like we've talked about this probably in an episode, like 2 episodes ago, and you and Eddie might have touched on it, but it's like they gave some of the qualities of MM to Homelander, and then they also gender swapped a couple different people, Stillwell and Newman. So, yeah. And I don't know if you think for the better or if it's just different, but it seems to work out really well for the show.
I think it's been for the better, because I feel like it's made Homelander a more complicated character, because they were both women that he respected. But obviously with Newman, he didn't have a romantic relationship. But what they created with Stillwell, I think was beautiful. And I think that was killing her. I feel like was the first time he killed somebody that he truly loved.
Right.
And, obviously he loses more people, and we still see him kill more people that he doesn't necessarily want to, but kind of feels like he needs to, I guess. But yeah, Stillwell, I feel like, was the first, so it was the hardest.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Interesting stuff. Yeah, we're already seeing, I mean, they just deviated a lot. Like a lot of these people aren't even around anymore when it comes to the show, whether it's like season 3 or season 4 even.
Right. Or they haven't shown up. Like, you think of the people that haven't shown up yet either. So
yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
All right, so we are on 41, The Innocents, Part 2. So Mal Chemical is welcome to Super Duper. When he learns Clinker has Tourette's and can't stop saying effing C word, he loses it laughing. They then venture off to save a kitten from a tree. It goes horribly wrong as Huey watches from afar because Butcher doesn't trust him right now and sent him to watch Super Duper. This is like an incredibly, incredibly innocent team. It is nothing like any other soups they've ever encountered. They are really like, oh, gee, gosh, Williker or whatever.
Which is a bunch of Captain Americas. Like Steve Rogers Captain Americas.
Like, yes, but even more innocent, and some of them not the brightest tools in the shed.
Okay. All right.
So we learn Mal Chemical has been sent there for changing his shape, because his power is that he can change his chemical composition. And he got caught after he pretended to be another teammate on the Team Titanic so that he could have relations with that guy's girlfriend. He basically got caught. And so he's being sent to Super Duper to lead them as punishment. While Super Duper is out getting ice cream without Mal Chemical, Black Hole goes to eat the cup and the spoon. He's like, hey, look at me. I can eat anything. because that's what he does in this, not the other thing. But the spoon breaks and he chokes. Huey's watching them from afar and sees this, and he runs to the rescue and does a tracheotomy, which Frenchie had actually taught him to do. He gave him some real life in the field kind of skills because, you know, they're all often facing life and death situations. And of course, they all then hug Huey, and Butcher watches from afar. And now he definitely thinks he's a Vought plant because Super Duper are all hugging him.
Oh my gosh, that's a pretty ridiculous scenario when you think about it, because it's like, yeah, we need to have more, like, they're trying to think, if I was going to put myself in the writer's shoes, we need a situation where it looks like Huey is even more of a Vought inside man here. Let's give him a situation where he has to save somebody from Super Duper, and it's from a broken spoon. It's ridiculous. But I like it. I can see touches of this at the end of season 3. I mean, there's always, maybe even season 4 too. There's these moments where Butcher in the show is slowly, like, he loves Huey. Maybe Huey's one of the closest people. Like, for some reason, Huey's one of the only people he can drop his guard with. But he also starts doing things that, like, not only opposes him, but the boys as well. And I feel like they took that skepticism of Butcher from the comics, and they just kind of did it in different ways in the show.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they've wanted to maintain that relationship with Huey and Butcher from the comics to the show. So, yeah, I see that. And they're trying to give him something, I guess, to throw him off. Yeah, Super Duper is not a team I think we will ever see or get maybe a mention, but I don't think we'll ever see them in Gen V, Vought Rising, or the boys. I don't see that happening.
Right.
It was just too silly.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, too, I'm like, I don't even know how that would work, because the whole point of the show, too, is just, hey, if you had superpowers, you'd probably be a terrible person, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you throw in this whole, like, counter team that's like, gee golly, and kind of dumb, and kind of like, I'm sure there's like adorable moments in like a really goofy way. Yeah. You know what? Maybe they brought that in. Okay, so yeah, in preparation for this, kind of recapping the end of season 3, the start of season 4, we also see that Black Noir has this kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, like the Bucky the Beaver.
Oh yeah, the innocence.
Yeah. Is that something you think that they pulled from Super Duper into Black Noir's character?
I think, I mean, you could argue that, but Black Noir was still a raging homicidal maniac that just had brain damage.
Right.
But I mean, you see Sam's similar too with Black Noir, where they both have this innocence, but they kill a lot of people. But I think it was more so the Butcher is very much so black and white, with soups are bad, humans are good. All soups are evil. And I think that this team, like Huey was upset when the team he got close with, when he went undercover before, got killed, and he felt like a lot of them didn't want to be there and they didn't love it, but they weren't as innocent as this team. So this team is like an extreme, I think, to prove Butcher wrong. And you see that with Butcher in the show of soups are evil, like, and he even says it with Huey, like him and Annie never get along well. They're constantly going like this, and Annie's kind of a jerk to him too. But I think it's to get him out of that black and white, so that he can see some gray and see that there are some soups that are good. Because in the show, even when Butcher becomes a soup, like, what he's always thought of himself as evil. So it's like, well, this makes sense. I'm a soup. I'm a bad guy.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I can see that whole idea kind of. I'm trying to like figure out how they linked that story with the show. And that seems like that makes the most sense.
It was a little bit off. Yeah. I will say, I mean, yeah, they can't all be hero-gasm issues. They can't all be women.
Yeah. But I mean, the show as well. I mean, not every episode was that great, as Herogasm was. So it's still a fantastic show. But you just trying to pull like some of the themes there. But yeah, I wonder if we'll ever get Super Duper, especially with some of these spin-offs coming.
Yeah, who knows? That would be a funny Super Duper spin-off.
Yeah, maybe
they do it in the cartoon. Oh yeah. Especially the prequel, because they even make a comment about this group being like a TV's 50s show or whatever. I don't remember what the exact comment was, but who knows? Maybe it'll be like Super Duper, the TV show. That would actually be really cool. On Vought Rising in the background.
I could see that. Yeah.
All right. If it happens here, you guys heard it here first from Thomas. Okay. All right. So number 42. So So MM figures out what Butcher thinks is going on, and Super Duper is being super nice to Huey as he plants a bug inside their house because that's what he was sent to do there, even though it was a BS mission, just for Butcher to kind of watch him and get him away from the boys. So Malchemical just wants to get back on Team Titanic, but he continues to be a total jerk to these kids. He even pretends to be Bobby, a not so quick and very large soup friend of theirs, and finds out Auntie Sis's biggest nightmare. So Auntie Sis is kind of like the pseudo leader of their group, but she doesn't really want to be the leader, but she's more intelligent and she seems to be a little bit more mature. So she's trying to calm Bobby down, and she's telling him that she has this she has nightmares too. She has this one reoccurring nightmare from when her giant aunt's underwear almost suffocated her as like a toddler.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's her nightmare. And so basically Malchemical pretended to be a giant pair of underwear and try to suffocate her. Meanwhile, Butcher assumes he's right about Huey because Super Duper invited him into the house after Bobby had bounced on and destroyed Huey's car. That was a weird issue.
Yeah, I'm like, what? All right. I don't see any connection to the show with that one, but
no.
Yeah. Wait, so why is Annie on the cover of that issue? Because
it goes to, I think it's coming up. So it goes to finding out who she is. So Butcher's finding out who she is.
Okay.
And he hasn't found out what she did, because the way they're going to be looking at it, and we'll get into it in a minute, is she did those sexual things to get onto the Seven, and that they're not looking at it as she was a victim. And I think they do a better job of portraying it in the comics or in the TV show kind of with her.
Right.
But yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, that's coming. But yeah, I no pun intended. That was a terrible choice of words. Yeah, I don't know why they chose that specific picture for that one.
Yeah. I didn't quite hear what you said, or I don't think I heard it in a terrible way. So yeah, if you're at home and you're like, man, she should not have said that, I didn't even catch it.
All right, so 43, the Innocence conclusion. So this is the conclusion of Super Duper. So MM confronts Stillwell about putting a hit on Huey when he was undercover and all the G-men were murdered. He, of course, is oblivious because Huey is not a double agent. And Malchemical, this is when he shifts into the underwear and attacks Auntie Sis, and then threatens Super Duper not to say anything to Vought so he can go back to Titanic. As he then goes to sexually assault them, Huey, who is still doing surveillance, runs in to stop it. So he can hear Malchemical is about to like force one of the, like, and these kids are so innocent, they don't even understand fully what's happening, all of them. They're like, what do you mean, why would you want us to, get on our knees kind of thing. And so like Malchemical is straight up evil.
Yeah, I was going to say, because he also sounds like Metamorpho, from like the Superman movie recently, or... I mean, he's been in DC Comics for a long time, but he has like each part of his limb is like a different element.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Malchemical though looks human. So
okay.
But he also, though, his face is kind of painted and almost made me initially think of Nuke from Marvel. But he's like a purple and orange or something. And so when he morphs into other things, we still see like the colors. But apparently he can completely shape shift into other people. But he can even like move like his mouth down here, and like I said, he can turn into a giant pair of underwear. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Huey runs in to stop the sexual assault. Butcher watches as he gets a call from MM, who tells him Huey's not with Vought. So MM went behind Butcher's back. He went straight to the legend, found out what was going on, and he's like, "What are you, stupid? Huey's clearly not a double agent. He's not working for Vought." Malchemical then attacks Huey as Huey's barging in, and he turns into tentacles, and then he turns into straight up gas. So he can even, turn into gas. Whatever he needs to do.
Yeah. He's totally Metamorpho. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So Butcher then barges in and sets the gas on fire and kills him. So Malchemical's dead. All these Super Duper kids are now absolutely terrified, and Butcher carries a very beat up Huey out over his shoulder. Huey ends up having to have surgery and everything, but obviously he's fine. MM then yells at Butcher for putting him in danger, and Butcher then says, "Let's not tell Huey who his girlfriend is just yet. Maybe we can use this to our advantage." But I mean, if he hadn't been there, what would have happened to these kids?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely hero. Also, like the MM Butcher argument, I think that reminds me of, was it in season 3 where they get into a big argument after they've been in like that New York building, it's like the super famous New York building. I feel like there's like an argument that breaks out between MM and Butcher, and that's I don't know. This comic reminds me of like that part of the show.
Oh, I could like hear what is the guy's name, Alonzo or something. I could like hear him
Mhm.
yelling, and while I'm reading and watching this, I'm hearing his voice in my head yelling at Butcher.
Oh,
So,
okay, yeah, perfect.
So yeah, this cover too. This is from Herogasm. I'm assuming when Homelander took down the plane that they were just talking about. So I don't know why some of these do seem a little off, but
Yeah, like that cover is like, yeah, okay. So if it's from Herogasm, that's whatever, like 10 issues
but
ago
you
or
see
so.
it's a picture. So all of these actually, you look at these are all pictures. So I guess it's
Pictures.
because they're the files that they were looking at. Oh, I just noticed they were all pictures. Whereas the first one
Yeah,
is not part of the Innocents and it's not a picture. So
right.
these are all
But
files that Stillwell or Butcher have pulled out.
yeah, but it is still weird that most of these covers don't really have to do with what's happening in that issue.
It's like what's
You know,
happening
like,
overall in the story of the Innocents.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
But now we go to 44, and this is relevant.
Dang, that is
So
quite the cover.
that is quite the cover. For those just listening, it's got a soup up on a cross. So this is the Believe Expo, part 1. So we went to that in the show.
Oh, early on, right? Wasn't that
Yeah.
season 1?
Yeah, that's when Homelander and Huey meet, is at the Believe Expo. And
Oh,
Huey
okay.
knows who Starlight is at this point, but Starlight doesn't know what Huey's doing at this point in the show.
How does that work out? Did Butcher end up telling
No. In the show,
Huey?
I'm saying Huey doesn't know
Oh,
yet
right.
in the comics. Okay, so we'll do. Okay, so this is issue 44, Believe Part 1. So
Okay.
Homelander advertises for a church event that he'll be at in Central Park. He's like, get your tickets at www.believe.com. Huey
Mhm.
and Annie are so in love now, and they're still lying to each other about their jobs. Annie is insistent she still wants to quit. She's just figuring out how. Stillwell
Mhm.
tells Annie she's the new minister and she's going to run Capes for Christ. Neither her nor Homelander want anything to do with the Believe Expo. A-Train accidentally sees this is like random. He sees Homelander crying in the fetal position with his pants down, asking himself, why can't I do the things I can do? Doesn't make any sense to A-Train, but he runs off as fast as he can because the last thing he wants is for Homelander to catch him, seeing him in a vulnerable state.
Right.
We then cut to Annie and Huey in the park, and Huey tells her about Robin and A-Train. And he's like, this is how my girlfriend actually passed. Like, Annie knew that his girlfriend had passed, but she didn't know that A-Train had been the cause of it. So this is her
Yeah.
first time finding this out. And Huey's then telling her, like, you have no idea what horrible things Supes do all the time. And he thinks he's
Mm.
giving her information she doesn't know. She looks like
Right.
she's going to puke, and then she actually tells him she's a superhero.
Okay. So finally, she reveals it to him,
Yes.
and at this point, does he reveal to her too that he's like part of the boys and killing heroes, or
Nope.
just her to him?
Yep, just her to him.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He
All
doesn't take
right.
it well. But
Yeah.
yeah, as far as the Believe Expo, there's definitely some crossover there. But in the show, yeah, Huey knew who she was because Huey went undercover, and that's how he ended up getting baptized by Homelander and meeting Ezekiel in the show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was like, well, yeah, I don't remember him getting baptized, but I remember Ezekiel and he has like the stretchy powers and he's
Yeah.
also like a giant creep behind the scenes. Yeah, it's been so long since I watched that one, but
Well, and then
yeah, that
Homelander, like when he baptizes him, he holds him under like a little too long, but not
okay.
too long.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, makes sense. Very Homelander thing to do. So, all right. Wow. They pulled in something from, I mean, it's funny because this feels like so long into the comics and it feels so long from where it pops up in the show, because in the show it
Mm-hmm.
pops up like pretty early on.
I
And
feel
I
like
think
it's like
this
the
is,
second episode or something.
was
Yeah.
it? Maybe that's why I'm like, man, I don't even remember the Believe Expo other than, Huey, I think, or is it Butcher ends up killing Ezekiel
Yeah,
in
but
like
not
this
till
trailer.
season 4.
That was season 4? Oh
Yeah,
my
because he
gosh.
kills him with his superhero powers. Remember, he blacks out, and it's
Yeah.
when he's like talking to Joe Kessler, and
Oh, yeah.
I think it was right when Firecracker had told the whole world that Annie had an abortion, and she like lost it on her and attacked her, and then Butcher and them have to like go in for reinforcements during this thing to like help Annie because all hell breaks loose. And
Right.
yeah, he like wakes up and the whole trailer is all bloody.
Yeah, yeah. But at that point in the show too, Annie's already have left the Seven, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's kind of like she's a starlighter, she's on her own and all this stuff. In the comics, she's still very much a part of the Seven, right?
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Kind of, but yeah.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. So we are on to number 45. So 45, we're still at the Believe Expo. Huey thinks that Annie's playing a cruel joke until she begins to levitate. She tells Huey that they're not supposed to tell anyone their true identity and that the soups are just awful. Huey pukes and then runs away. So now the Believe event has officially started. So before they were just planning it, now we're at the event. So yeah, things are happening. We see a soup named Oh Father with 12 sidekicks, like the 12 apostles.
Oh my gosh, are you serious? Like, wow. That's so on the nose. Like, that's crazy.
Well, the worst part is a lot of soups know that Oh Father is doing things to these children, and Homelander even makes a comment about it. Like, you need to be more subtle. Yeah.
Jeez. Oh man, if Homelander's telling you to like hide it, you're doing things like terrible things pretty out and about.
Right. I think that's the one thing they don't do. I feel like they do have a little bit of grace in that area on the show. Like, I don't think we would see that in the show.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Right. Yeah. there are some lines they have. So the boys are all undercover just trying to get some info at the event while Huey is at home freaking out about Starlight. Suddenly he thinks of Butcher and he gets worried. He hauls ass to go to the Believe event. Meanwhile, Annie's already there and she's giving a speech about God and she's saying things she doesn't even agree with anymore, but she's being forced to. Homelander and Oh Father discuss whether there are other soups like Annie because they see Annie and they're like, oh, this is actually like a true believer in the sense of she believes soups are supposed to do good. And Oh Father says only Super Duper, saying like they're also like do-gooders. To which Homelander replies, good. Homelander wants soups in the military and he wants them to back Vic the Veep and he really wants soups to basically take over the world.
Yep.
And that is what he was wanting to say at Herogasm before Stillwell walked in. So he wanted to announce to all of them, hey, we're going to basically run the world.
Oh, finally. I was like, what did he say? When last time we talked about it, there was no, like, I was on the hook. I was like, man, what was he going to say? So, okay.
When you even see in season 4, Homelander's like, we're not going to be superheroes anymore. We're going to be gods.
Yeah. But it's cool how they, like, took that kind of cliffhanger from Herogasm and then they turned into a major plot point in the show where it was like, all right, well, yeah, we are these company products. And now, Homelander is starting to kill a bunch of the people who run VOT at this point, and they keep putting in new people. And I just think that's like, it was a really cool idea how they like took this small premise. In a way, it's sort of small in the book. At least that's the inclination I'm getting. And then it becomes such a big driver in the show, especially in season 4. Because you're like, okay, yeah. And I guess they try to show it in season 1 too, that, they're trying to get the government to back soups as soldiers.
Because they want the government money to put the soups in there. Yeah. And that's when they like create the soup terrorists. Because it's like, if you're going to have soup terrorists, you need soup soldiers. But in the comic, they didn't have the 9/11 incident in the comics or in the show the way they did in the comics. And Oh Father even says like, 9/11 didn't really go great. Is it really a good idea to have soups in the military? But it's not that they really care about the military. They more so care about, controlling
the money and the power.
Everything.
And
money, power, respect. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's cool. I really like that. It just plays out so differently in the book, but it's such an important thing in the show. So I think it's pretty cool how they like formatted that for the show. That's awesome.
Yeah, I know. To be like a fly on the wall of the writer's room and how they piece all this together. It's like
and like
puzzle.
Picked out things and be like, this is what we're gonna use for this. Like, man, that would have been really cool to see how they did it.
Fun, but also just like so much work. But
yeah.
mean, they make a lot of money though. So Huey actually runs into Butcher as he's going to like run to the Believe Expo, who basically Butcher is like apologizing to him for being not nice and tells him if he ever needs to talk, he'll be there. And that is how that issue ends.
There you go. All right. Well, yeah, very much the same relationship from the show, which to your point, what you said earlier, it seems like that's one of the things that was very consistent from the comic to the show is that relationship between Butcher and Huey. So, yeah, I see the inspiration.
Yeah. Oh, and Frenchie and the female were undercover at the Believe Expo, and she was actually dressed like a little girl, and she gets some balloons. So this cover, we're back to the cover is syncing up.
Oh, interesting.
So
That's also that's interesting that like in the book she can be seen as a little girl and nobody will know. That's
she's
crazy.
younger in the book, in the
Oh,
comics.
interesting.
They don't have
Okay.
a romantic relationship. It's more like a father-daughter relationship, I should say.
How do you feel about that? Because I love the romantic relationship between Frenchie and Kimiko in the show.
I do too, and I think it made more sense for her to be an adult. Again, how they don't touch too much on that. I mean, you have like Zoe, obviously, and you have terrible kid stuff happen, but I
Hmm.
think it was best played out like that. Yes, and I do love their relationship, especially with what we saw Frenchie go through with Colin in season 4. With that was like devastatingly sad because he had
Hmm.
to come to terms with this guy he really, really liked, and he was responsible for all the pain and sorrow in his life because he had offed his family.
Hmm.
And I felt like it created more of a deep like thing with him and Kamiko because she just wanted him to be happy and she kind of pushed him away, but really they just weren't meant to be together yet.
Right, right. That was the
But yeah,
final thing that pushed them to be together, though. It was
yeah,
like, well, you're not supposed to be with anybody else, and I'm not supposed to be with anybody else, and it's like, why are we kind of fighting this?
right.
So, yeah,
And they
and then by
bonded
the
over
time,
all their murders they didn't want to do.
right, right. Is she just as brutal in the comics?
Yeah. And in the comics, I would say she's more brutal because she needs to be held back in the comics. And that's what Frenchie was talking about in issue 39 of like, he wanted to keep an eye on her because she would go and do hits for like the mob. And he's like, you need to not chip away your entire soul. You need to keep some of your soul. So he would try to, treat her like a human, not treat her like
Wow.
the female.
Yeah. Huh. That's crazy. Yeah, she's kind of has that berserker Wolverine rage in her. I mean, that's what I get from her from the show. I've actually never looked up like what her powers are. I know she can heal but she's like to
Just
me
super
she's kind of
strong.
yeah, the boys version of Wolverine. And yeah, I don't know. Is that what you get from her in the comic or what kind of character can you associate with her from the comic?
Oh, that's a hard one. I can see where you can get Wolverine from as part of the Berserker Rage, but I feel like Wolverine is so different in the regards of like he's so old and he's so
Yeah.
jaded, and I feel like Kamiko has more hope and like some glimmer in her eye, whereas
Yeah, yeah.
Wolverine's just
That's true.
wants to have whiskey and you know not fall in love again because he'll just end up having another dead significant other.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah,
But
I mean, I think they tried to go that route with Kimiko. Other than that, she's not as old, but like she starts off pretty jaded and evil and like softens up as the show goes on. And now she's even at the point where she has her normal voice and she can just talk with everybody. So I'm excited to
yeah,
see how that plays out in the show this season.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be weird to hear her talk. All right, so
Yep.
number 46. So we're still on Believe part 3. So Huey tells Butcher the truth. We're still at the
Mhm.
event, and Homelander actually compliments Annie, telling her she should give Stillwell more shit because she's like, I don't want to do this, and she stood up to him.
Mhm.
She's like, didn't really make a difference. He's like, yeah, but you still stood up, and so Homelander actually seemed like he had a little bit of respect for her that he's never shown before. Uh,
Mm.
However, he then crosses a line mentioning her giving him and the others BJs to get into the 7. And then suddenly he gets very confused. Homelander is like visibly confused. And I think one of the fun things about rereading this comic is there's so many things that you don't realize. Like that's relevant. Him getting visibly confused in this scene is incredibly relevant to how this comic ends. So
Okay.
Homelander's behavior can be all over the place sometimes, but it all makes sense towards the end. So you don't
Okay.
pick that up as much. It's a foreshadowing thing that you got to
Mhm.
rewatch it to really pick it up. So Huey and Butcher now decide that they have to go find out if Starlight is spying on them. So they go to pull all the old bugs from the seven, and Butcher tells Huey that Maeve is the one who plants them, because he's like, who planted all these? And he's like, oh, it was Maeve. Like,
Yeah.
no big deal. Maeve's just working for them. She had come to the legend years ago, and that is the comic book version of the legend, and Maeve on the screen right now. And if you're not watching, yeah, it's
he looks super different than he does in the show.
Yes, in the show he's Paul Reiser, and I love him in the show. I thought he did a fantastic job. But yeah, so that's Vic the Veep, and yeah, this is him in the comics, and that is Queen Maeve in the comics.
Oh, okay.
So she came to the legend, and that led her to the boys because she hates Homelander. Huey sees what Annie did on the tapes, though. So he now sees the BJs she did to get onto the seven, or the sexual assault, depending on how you want to look at it. I would go with the latter.
Yeah. Well, that's so weird. Okay, so he sees these. How does that like help his character? I mean, like, it just kind of confirms something that she already told him, right?
Well, she said she had to do. Yeah, it kind of does. I guess he just didn't. I mean, and we'll get to his reaction in a minute. It's not cool. He does not handle it well.
Okay.
But yeah, it was not fair at all how he reacts. But in the show, he was very, I feel like, more understanding with it.
Right. And as any like good normal person would be, like in the show, it's very clear that she doesn't want to do it. It's completely against her will. It's like this terrible thing. I'm glad it wasn't multiple people, and they kind of just put it on the Deep as opposed to like multiple Soups, because I think that would have just, I don't know, that would have just felt too terrible. It's terrible all around, but I think
it didn't need to be 3. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be so many people. It just So, anyways, it's all crappy, but I think this is an area where the comics like is just more brutal than it needed to be. Again, I don't know.
Well, Maeve, though, she ends up helping them in the show, so they do a nod to that. She's bringing them the Temp V, and giving them info and whatnot. So, like that.
So yeah, okay. So Maeve in the comics, she goes to Legend. Legend tells her about the boys, and then she goes and finds the boys to give them. What was the information again?
So she hates Homelander. She just wants to do something to help take down Homelander. So she goes to the Legend, who's working for Victory Comics at the time. He spins the stories, and he's like, "Well, I can put you in contact with this group that like essentially wants to take down superheroes." And she's like, "Perfect." So she's like, "Well, what can I do to help that I'm not going to get myself into trouble?" And so they're like, "Bug the place for us." And she's like, "Works for me." And obviously she does things there, like, they see her, like, because she has constantly suitors coming to her place that she's sleeping with, and she drinks all the time, and like, so obviously she doesn't care if anybody knows that, because that's on all the tapes. So she just wants to take down, and they don't really care about that. She's not doing any assaulting or anything,
or murdering people or anything, like Homelander or A-Train is doing at this point. So that's like small potatoes considering all the horrific stuff the rest of the Soups are doing behind the scenes.
Exactly. So they think, though, that because Butcher's telling Huey all this, and Huey's or Butcher's like, well, we think it's because there are these pictures that circulated a while ago, and we think Homelander circulated the pictures. And Huey's like, well, are they out there? Do you have them? And Butcher's like, yeah, they're right here. And it's just some like kind of nudes of her. And that's when he's like, but I don't think she cares about that, because she sees that we see all this stuff that she's doing in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
But we do get more into Maeve as it's going, because Maeve's been a very dormant character in the comics at this point. She just chills and drinks and tells Annie she's not her friend.
Okay, that makes sense, because Maeve has I think a pretty decent role in the show, like starting from season 1. I think last season, I think it was
last
season
season
4.
we didn't see her.
Yeah, we didn't see her really at all. But I like that there's like this love-hate relationship. I just kind of love her arc in the show, because it's very much like she's kind of on board with what Homelander wants, and she's like, I don't care, like, my life's fine. And then he crosses the line on the plane crash, and then it's like, oh man, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And then he outs her for her sexuality. And so, yeah, she's such a good character in the show. It's, yeah, you're right. It's like, I feel like this is the first time we've really talked about her in the comic. And that's also crazy to me because we're like almost 50 issues in.
I know. And she's just like, well, let the dumb boys do their dumb things, and I'm just going to sit here and whatever. But she also
Yeah.
seems very depressed in the comics. But yeah, I was sad we haven't seen her since the end of season 3. But I mean, I guess because she's human now. But I would think that she would still want to fight. But I guess the second Homelander knows she's alive. That's not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
She got out. You're not supposed to get out. She got out. It's like the mob. You don't really get out, but she got out.
Right. I think, I don't know. I feel like we'll probably see her at some point next season, but yeah, we'll see what happens because I feel like she was so pivotal. And it's like last season of the show, you got to have all the characters on the board.
Yeah, it would be nice to see her come back just to especially with, you're seeing in the trailer, we saw freedom camps and everything. And so things are clearly not going good. You had martial law at the end of season 4. So I'm sure she's being impacted in one way or another, even if she escaped. I mean, unless she's, maybe even if she's out of the country, she's got to be watching this on TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who knows where she could be? I mean, yeah, I don't know if she's still with her girlfriend that they had in whatever it was, season 2 or season 3. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I have not really thought about Mavis' character. I did think about her last season. It's like, oh, I wonder if they're going to bring her back, but then they didn't. So
maybe Soldier Boy will bring her up because he's the one that blasted her out of the window, made her human, and she vanished.
Right. And then she was kind of injured, but she was still in the apartment and she was still alive.
She was hiding in MM's apartment and then they got her out. Yeah. And then Ashley was the only human thing Ashley ever did where she's delete the tape of her alive because Homelander thought she was dead, that Soldier Boy had exploded her.
Yeah. Oh, Ashley. I can't wait to catch up with her next season as well because she was losing it.
Yeah, absolutely. She has lost it. Yeah. Oh, Ashley. Now she's just she should have gone and worked for Disney. They've been trying to get her for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, last time we saw her, she was running for her life and shooting up V.
Yeah. And she had the whole the leader brain looking thing going on. But then in the trailer, she looks fine. So I hope they explain that
the
one.
leader brain thing. Yeah.
Remember her head was growing massive and all her hair was falling out. And then in the trailer, you see her and she kind of looks fine. So I can't wait to see how they explain that one.
Yeah. All right. So our last one, conclusion. This is Believe Conclusion, issue 47. Butcher tells Huey Annie's a soup and she's damaged goods. Oh, no. Butcher. Wait, what? Hold on. My notes are wrong.
Huey. Yeah.
No. Butcher is not here. Huey is telling Annie, you're damaged goods. He actually tells her that.
What? Dang.
Yes. All right,
Terrible.
no, this is correct. Okay, that does happen. But first, Butcher tells Huey she's a soup, she's damaged goods. But he tells him that he's got to make the decision on what he does next because he did puke and he ran away from Annie. That's right. I'm sorry. But it actually gets really bad. So they meet in the park and Huey acts as a completely insane person would, and he screams at her, calling her a whore. He thinks she's been laughing at, yeah, it's really bad. I feel like it's very out of character. I can't imagine Jack Quaid doing this.
Right.
He thinks that he's known who he is. He thinks she's been laughing at him. Oh, I'm a soup. She's much prettier than he is cute. She's laughing at him the whole time and making fun of him. And that's what he's thinking. And so when he finds this out, he's lashing out completely at her. And he does call her that. She acts completely reasonable. And then he calls her a see you next Tuesday. As he walks away, knowing he's wrong, she falls to her knees crying. Meanwhile, back at the Believe Expo, a lucky family won a contest and they get to have dinner with Homelander. He takes them up in a car and he's flying them up. So his whole family's in the car and Homelander's pushing it up and they're all smiling and this is amazing. As they get really high, the family's like, oh, it's getting kind of cold up here. Can you take us down to Earth? It's getting a little scary. Homelander then tells them that all of it is bullshit. The man in the sky is him. It's not God. And he then lets the car go. And the family with 2 kids just all plummet to their death.
Jeez.
At the Believe Expo, while this is happening, you see a bunch of soups kind of fly into the sky. And this scene ends with Homelander surrounded by a bunch of soups in the sky. And he says, let's talk. And that's how this ends. In the comics, a lot of them can fly, and the ones that can't fly often get carried like, wish I here I have a little stuffed animal. They carry them like this with just like their hands under their armpits, and they just like fly. So like A-Train will get carried like that because he can't fly.
Okay,
And so you see some soups that can't fly being held like that up in the sky, and that's when he wants to give them the talk that he tried to give them at Herogasm, because up there's no Stillwell, there's no humans, there's no bugs.
right. Okay,
So
that makes sense. But why does he? That's so messed up. He brings that family up, kills them, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna wait for everybody else to get here. Meeting's
yep,
about to start." Like what?
just
That's
completely
so crazy.
senseless. I will say
Yeah,
Homelander in the show, I feel like the things he does are like methodical and like revenge
right.
plotting. This one in the
Yeah.
comic is more chaos.
Absolutely. He's just like, you never know. You never know what Homelander's going to do next in the show, but it does all connect. Like whether it's the scientist that were kind of raising him and he's like torture them, or the guy who's
Such a good
technically his
episode.
dad. Yeah, like all of that seems to make more sense on who he attacks.
Yeah.
And I guess there is kind of a large death towards the end of the season with him like lasering that starlighter, and then this in a sense of him like killing the family. What do
But
people think below as the family just smashes to the ground?
I think maybe he was over the ocean. I don't know. We didn't even see that part. But when he lasers a guy in the crowd, that guy threw like a can at his kid's head. Like, if
Oh, that's
somebody
true.
hurts your kid, like,
Yeah.
you go, mama bear or whatever, like you go in attack mode. And in
Yeah.
that moment, I mean, yeah, it was a plastic water bottle. I wouldn't have murdered somebody throwing a plastic water bottle at my kid, especially if they're soup abled. But like, he was pissed. Like, that's my kid. Like, it's one thing you do it to him, it's another you do it to your
Yeah.
kid.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's more justified in the show for sure, but like it's not like he's still
It's not
murdering
right.
someone in broad daylight. Yeah. So, anyways, that's just like yeah, it's weird. Also, Huey just seems so out of character. And I think if they did that route in the show, I mean, he has moments too where he says some stuff to Annie, but it makes more sense because he's not super, he's not famous, he's not particularly talented in any way. So it's coming from more of an insecure place. I think that's what they're trying to drive at from the comic too, but it doesn't come across well. And I'm happy that they kind of changed that his actions maybe to align more with how he might be feeling, and just in a like a better way in the show. So yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
know. What are your
agree.
thoughts on that?
I completely agree. I think it would have come off as too cold and too not Huey, and it would have been harder for him to come back from that, because like they do
Right.
continue to date in this.
After
So
after that whole conversation and she's like crying and stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, fine, I'll take you back." Like, okay.
yeah, I don't remember the exacts of it, so we will get to it. But like the next issue is 6 issues called Highland Laddie. Huey basically goes home to Scotland, and
Mm,
in this, I don't remember exactly what happens, but I believe he kind of comes to terms with what he did. So we'll break that down next week before we get back to issue 48. So it's kind of like Herogasm, where they did a 6-issue spinoff.
okay. I see. Nice.
So we're
Man,
still
this
on
is
Omnibus
crazy.
4. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And there's how many total omnibuses?
There's 6 omnibuses total. So
Wow.
yeah, there was more comics than I realized. I really thought we could do 1 omnibus a week for 6 weeks, and that proved incorrect. But I think we'll be doing these while the show's on, and I think people will be more hyped to hear some of the characters, especially because I have watched the first 7 issues of the new season, and you'll be
Mm,
able to catch a non-spoiler review this Monday. You'll be able to catch spoiler reviews every Wednesday as the episodes are watching. Matt and I will be doing videos, and I will be writing articles as well. You can find all those, of course, on nerdinitiative.com and here on the Nerd Initiative YouTube. And there are characters that we've seen in the trailers that are from the comics. So we
mm,
will talk about those as they appear in the show, and make those connections as well. If we've talked about them already, or if we haven't, we will definitely
right.
cross
Yeah,
those
there's
bridges
like
when we get there.
absolutely. There's characters that we have maybe talked about in from the comic books, but they
Yep.
have not been shown in the show yet. So yeah, I'm excited about that too. But yeah, you didn't spoil anything for me. I don't really know what's coming up this next season. So I am so excited for the show to launch. But um, yeah, this, yeah, in some ways, man, some of these characters are like way worse in the comics.
Yeah.
Actually, majority of the time, they're like way worse in the comics. So it's crazy to think that the show is the mild or like the lightened version of some of this. It's so crazy.
Absolutely. So you got anything
Cool.
else this week for those issues before I do our credits?
No, let's jump into some credits.
All right, so The Boys is created by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. All comic book images are from Dynamite Entertainment. All real images are from The Boys TV, courtesy of Prime Video, copyright Amazon Studios or Amazon MGM Studios. And that's what we got this week. So stay tuned next week when Huey goes home to Scotland. And I will say, I started reading the first issue. They're speaking a different kind of English, but they lean into all the Scottish sayings and accents.
Okay.
So we're going to have to do some interpreting next week. So.
Nice. All right. I get to like hear the language of my people, at least one part of me. So let's, yeah, I'm stoked. Perfect. Well, all right, everybody. I think that's it for this week's episode of Saturdays Are for the Boys. Yeah, come along as we jump into a very Scottish version of the next set of issues. And yeah, stay tuned because we're going to be talking a lot about The Boys season 5. All right.
Yes,
thanks so much.
5 drops this week, guys. Enjoy.
Yep, and enjoy. Let us know what you think. Drop in the comments. All right. Thanks so much, everybody.